from the Scripps Studios, this is 10 News.
It was one of the largest local protests seen here in San Diego. Thousands marched from downtown to North Park. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Kimberly Hunt. 10 News reporter Anthony Pura followed the demonstration from the ground as they spread their message across San Diego.
Let's go!
From the get-go, the demonstration was fueled by passion, growing in numbers as they marched on.
Don't shoot!
They are protesting against racial injustice.
We definitely want a whole revamped police department where there is, way more understanding between the community and the police.
Yeah, this is personal, you know what I'm saying? My grandma is African American. My grandpa is half African American, so it's important for me to come out here and basically show support to my community and show support to my friends and family.
Sky 10 flew over the protest as it made its way out of downtown. The demonstration started outside San Diego Police Headquarters and headed towards North Park. Officers and motorcycles cleared the streets for them. Organizers told the crowd to keep an eye out for agitators, to pull out their phones if they see anyone doing anything out of line that could derail their message.
We know that people might come in and try to incite violence. We have learned just to separate them from the group.
Separate them and alert police. Police estimated a crowd of at least 2,000 people, one of the largest they've seen, but said it remained peaceful. This was the scene as they marched east on University Avenue entering North Park, crowds cheering and showing their support. This was a youth-led demonstration, the demonstrators younger and optimistic they could spark change.
Their age group is the first age group where they're like, we're not going to stand for racism, that they are against the status quo. They're the first age group that's going to the next level to push what they believe is real, and they don't believe that people should be judged or killed because of the color of their skin. They don't believe in police brutality, so that's why we're out here today to represent that, and the youth is leading it.
Anthony Pura, 10 News.
Impressive. Carlsbad police are investigating a disturbing video of a man claiming to form a gun squad to stop rioters. The unidentified man posted this video to social media. Now, in it, he claims that a 3-day demonstration is scheduled to begin in Carlsbad this weekend and expects it to turn into a riot. He boasts that he will, quote, pull triggers to stop looters. The Carlsbad Police Department says it is aware of this video and is looking into the threat.
An unexpected protest wrapped up peacefully in Chula Vista this afternoon. Demonstrators lined up along this roadway in Eastlake around 2 p.m. The protest was originally planned for Sunday, but it was moved up by organizers. One woman said that she came out to make a difference for her younger brother.
I wanted to come out here and I wanted to do my part because we need to show people that this is not an issue of politics. This is a human rights issue. And if you can't get behind people losing their lives because of their skin color, then there's an issue there.
Several Chula Vista police officers, including the chief, also knelt with the crowd. And tonight marks the second night for the National Guard in La Mesa. Sheriff Bill Gore requested their help after protesters over the weekend turned to violence, looting, and torching 2 banks. Our 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo shows us what their role will be while they're there.
We know there are about 200 National Guardsmen here in San Diego County. About 100 of them are right here in La Mesa. Their job will be to protect and prevent any destruction of property in the city. National Guardsmen arrived in La Mesa late Wednesday night at the request of Sheriff Bill Gore.
The crowd, to be quite honest, overwhelmed us. We had not enough resources there, and we were in a position of defending the La Mesa Police Department, so it didn't get burned to the ground like 2 banks did.
The sheriff requested the National Guard after he says the department didn't have enough resources to help La Mesa police last Saturday night after peaceful protest ended in violence.
I absolutely 100% agree with it, as we have been praying for more protection.
The Guardsmen carry rifles and are in full uniform. In a statement, the National Guard explained the soldiers can detain people rather than arrest them. It would be up to a peace officer to take custody of the individual.
They would probably detain the person, put them in flex cups, and hold them until a peace officer got there to take custody and book them into jail.
While the majority of the protests have been peaceful, La Mesa residents welcome the move.
And there's those that are trying to get their point across and those that are just taking advantage.
The protesters were fun and it was peaceful from what I could see, but it was towards the nighttime on Saturday that things got out of hand. I'm talking about the looters, not protesters.
Sheriff Gore says the troops help free up local officers to respond to any potential calls of vandalism or looting. Gore says the guardsmen will not use the carotid restraint and will not use any tear gas or rubber bullets. In La Mesa, Laura Acevedo, 10 News.
San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulkner says he is not asking for the National Guard to come to the city of San Diego. He says that incidents of violence have dropped steadily and that there were no arrests last night. Faulkner credits cooperation between protest leaders and police.
The more the bad actors stay at home, the more the voices of the people will be heard. And this does not happen by accident. As I mentioned previously, it takes two essential ingredients. First, community advocates that organize and lead. And I want to continue to acknowledge and thank the civic, faith, and community leaders. I met with several of them in my office earlier this week, and they are clear, very clear. They will not tolerate violence in their ranks.
The mayor also said the second ingredient is the hard work of the San Diego Police Department. He credits officers for their hard work. Faulkner singled out the officers yesterday who prayed and marched with those protesters. La Mesa and Santee are both back under curfew tonight. La Mesa's was from 7 p.m. to 5:30 in the morning and Santee's from 7 to 6. That La Mesa curfew will be in effect every night through Sunday. For now, Santee plans to enforce it tonight and tomorrow night.
After a day of remembrance for George Floyd, nationwide protests continued. ABC's Alex Perche reports as the memorial for Floyd was getting underway, the 3 officers charged in his death were facing a judge.
After more than a week of protest, a celebration of life for George Floyd. A homegoing service in Minneapolis for the man whose death started a movement. Before this 46-year-old became a symbol, he was a man, a father and brother from humble beginnings, who loved LeBron James and growing up eating banana and mayonnaise sandwiches.
The thing that I will miss about him most is his hugs.
The concern with a homegoing service like this is doing it in the age of COVID. So organizers told us they limited the number of folks that were allowed to come. We saw people dressed in black, all wearing masks and socially distanced.
Reverend Al Sharpton delivering the eulogy, punctuated by a powerful moment of silence, 8 minutes and 46 seconds, the time Floyd spent on the ground begging for breath.
What happened to Floyd happens every day in this country, in education, in health services. It's time for us to stand up in George's name and say, get your knee off our necks.
Martin Luther King III saying this after.
What stands out and makes this, and I'm going to call it a movement, a different movement, is the level of people who are engaged.
And while the memorial was happening, the 3 former officers involved in Floyd's death made their first court appearances. Toe Tao, J. Alexander King, and Thomas Lane, each facing 2 charges, including aiding and abetting second-degree murder, a felony. Derek Chauvin, a 19-year vet of the force, facing second-degree murder. Attorneys for King and Lane, who were both rookies, shifting the blame to Chauvin, who held his knee on Floyd's neck. King was only on his 3rd shift as a full-time officer, his lawyer adding he told the other officers, "You shouldn't do this." And tonight, Maurice Lester Hall, Floyd's friend and one of the people seen in that video just before Floyd's deadly encounter, telling the New York Times, "I'm going to always remember seeing the fear in Floyd's face because he's such a king. That's what sticks with me, seeing a grown man cry before seeing a grown man die." Alex Perche, ABC News, Minneapolis.
3 New York City police officers are recovering after being attacked in Brooklyn last night. Police say a man walked up to an officer and stabbed him in the neck with a knife. He then used that officer's gun to shoot 2 other officers. Investigators say the violence happened where no protest took place. The Joint Terrorism Task Force is investigating whether or not the attack is linked to terrorism. And this just the latest act in the growing violence against police. Police say retired St. Louis police captain David Dorn, 39 years on the force, was shot by looters while trying to protect a Missouri pawn shop Monday night. His son is now pleading for peace.
Just step back from what you're doing. Know the real reason that you're protesting. Let's do it in a positive manner. My dad, he's a forgiving soul, so he would have forgiven that person.
29-year-old officer Shea McAlonis is fighting for his life tonight after being shot Monday in Las Vegas. In Buffalo, New York, officials say video shows looters driving directly into police, leaving one with a shattered pelvis and broken leg. 2 others have minor injuries. There has been an arrest for the crash that killed 2 boys, their grandma, and her boyfriend in Escondido. Police arrested 28-year-old Ashley Williams today. They say she's the driver who slammed into the 10 and 11-year-old boys along with the 2 adults May 5th. The 4 were out for a walk on San Pasqual Valley Road May 5th when they were hit, and Williams is now facing 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated.
We have a 10 News follow-up on the story of a woman who was assaulted with a baseball bat during a Saturday night riot in La Mesa. La Mesa police say that they have now arrested 52-year-old Javier Zavala for that assault yesterday. Police say that he attacked a woman late that night while she was simply walking home. The victim initially ran off as police intervened. Authorities say she later came forward and reported the assault. The victim suffered a broken hand and bruising to her left leg.